I got some quizzical looks and perplexing responses. Some people wondered what ties, if any, existed between Mexico and Iran. Is there any Iranian studies there? Really? Mexico? These were some of the responses. Now, surely you could expect a historian to outline some of these ties and to answer these questions, which I'll try to get to very briefly in a few minutes. But it's also worth noting that sometimes cultural affinities present themselves in unexpected and ineffable ways. There's a social consciousness, a warmth that connects us, that connects our two communities that might not have been immediately obvious. For example, when leaving the Benito Juarez International Airport in Mexico City for the first time and stepping outdoors, the thick smell of benzene jostles our olfactory senses as gasoline fumes hang in the air. For anyone who has visited or lived in Tehran, these odors and sensory experiences are all too familiar. Then there's the traffic. The long line of impatient cars edging their way onto the main thoroughfare leading to UNAM and elsewhere is reminiscent of a car ride on Tehran's Valieh-Ast street on any given day. Next, there are the lush green trees cradling the city and the mud brick homes reminiscent of our dear, beautiful Girón. And finally, there's the food. Like Iranians, Mexicans enjoy rice and beans, arroz con frijoles, with their meals. Actually, as some of you know, one of the most popular foods in Rasht, which is also where my family's from, therefore all the Gilani references today, is a special bean dish called baghli ghato. When I first became familiar with Mexican food and became aware of the local penchant for arroz con frijoles, I thought to myself, well, this is the Mexican version of baghli ghato. And to boot, our flags have the same colors as well, green, white, and red. So it turns out we actually have a lot in common with our Mexican hosts. The unparalleled opportunity to hold the Biennial Conference in Latin America opens new cultural vistas and creates endless possibilities for future collaboration. Our conversations about Iran and the West, including in the diaspora, have migrated southward, moving us away from the familiar spaces of Canada, Europe, and the United States to Mexico and beyond. This journey has crossed borders and has crossed many borders and calls for comparative perspectives on immigration, race, and environmental sustainability. In 1903, Mexico and Iran signed a treaty of friendship that Isaac Khan Mofaham-ud-Dowleh, the country's envoy to the United States, and concluded on behalf of the Qajar state. Neither Iran nor Mexico had yet embarked on their revolutions, but both countries were grappling with economic disparities and autocratic rule. And I guess that's still going on today for both of them. This accord called for perpetual peace and friendship between the peoples of Mexico and Iran and paved the way for commercial relations. In the ensuing decades saw Mexico and Iran experience the impact of competition and exploitation in the global petroleum market. In 1901, the year that Iran signed the epic Darcy Concession, Mexico had already commenced crude oil production. As in Iran, Britain and the United States showed a vested interest in this profitable venture that embroiled Mexico in complicated diplomacy. Now, as we know, and as we saw again today, Mexico is also known for its embrace of social justice causes, having offered refuge to revolutionaries such as Leon Trotsky. In 1968, incidentally, another Olympic year, when Mexico City hosted the quadrennial athletic event, the world reeled from racial injustice. African-American athletes attending the Mexico City Olympics, Tommie Smith and John Carlos, famously raised their fists to denounce systemic racism in the United States of America. Locally, Mexican laborers and students, including those enrolled at UNAM, protested widely, calling for civil liberties and economic parity. We honor this history and these causes, which many of our scholars also hold dear. Moreover, we have experienced a trying and turbulent year in which the devastating war in Gaza and ensuing and heartbreaking hostage crisis, famine, ecological destruction, and mind-boggling civilian death toll have badly shaken our humanity and ethical principles. Still, we are grateful that the program of the 14th AIS Biennial Conference in Mexico City displays a commitment to academic freedom and enables us to discuss controversial subjects within the framework of Iranian studies and as defined in our bylaws. We uphold these values, recognizing at the same time the diversity of the field, including political diversity as expressed in the association's code of conduct. Now, organizing a destination conference of this magnitude in a major metropolis is not easy and was only possible with large and dedicated teams of support, both here and abroad. Plans to convene the inaugural AIS Biennial Conference in Latin America took shape in the fall of 2022 when my colleague at the University of Pennsylvania, Dr. Oscar Aguirre Mandujano, who is himself a graduate of UNAM, introduced me to this incredible team of scholars and individuals. And I begin by thanking our dear partners, Dr. Moisés, Garduño, García, Dr. Shekoufeh, Mohammadi, and everyone on the panel here, for their help. We're grateful to Dr. Lilián Álvarez, Institute Director, Dr. Alejandra Gómez, Director of the Museum, who have worked tirelessly with equally dedicated and hardworking volunteers to make this conference a success. Next, I must express my profound gratitude to the entire membership of the Association for Iranian Studies, and especially to the AIS Council, all of whom have stepped up to ensure the success of the association and its biennial conference. It's been a tremendous privilege for me to serve as president and to work with the entire council over the past 2 years, including on the biennial conference. The council has taken on a range of activities to promote the objectives of the association, all noted in the printed program, which I will not repeat here in the interest of time. I remain most grateful to the AIS Executive Committee, Dr. Dominic Brookshaw, President-elect Dr. Nasrin Rahimieh, Editor of Iranian Studies, Dr. Rivon Sandler, Executive Director, and Dr. James Gustafson, Treasurer, for their guidance and support throughout my term. I look forward to passing the baton very soon to Dr. Brookshaw, whose groundbreaking and wide-ranging scholarship on many aspects of Persian literature, including the heteroerotic and homoerotic dynamics of Persian and Arabic lyric poetry, as well as his contributions to the literary production of Hajar women, shows why he's so deeply respected in the field and the association. All of our partners came to help when we needed it. We are particularly grateful to the ILIX Foundation, Drs. Olga Davidson, Nilu Futuhi, and Negin Yavari for supporting AIS with funds for student and postdoc travel grants and the conference in general. The trustees of the Persian Heritage Foundation, particularly Drs. Rudy Matei, Ali Ghaisari, and Joel Cooper, similarly provided a subvention to AIS to help us meet the costs associated with the conference. Finally, I thank Dr. Salman Farmayan and the Sudavar Memorial Foundation for their support of the conference and the Honorary Fellows Program. Dr. Miriam Kunkler has assiduously edited our informative newsletter for many seasons. We wish her the best as she moves on to head the Association for the Study of Persianate Societies. A huge shout out also to Dr. Niki Akhavan for adeptly heading the book exhibit, and Dr. Nahid Siamduz for capably leading the mentorship committee. Finally, we thank our administrative team, Mr. Hamoun Hayati and Mr. Vahid Mazda, for providing technical and social media support. از خدمات صادقانه و مساعدت‌های همکاران مکزیکی خود در برگزاری موفقیت آمیز چنین کنفرانس گسترده‌ای صمیمانه قدردانی می‌نماییم. از حضور فعال دانشجویان و محققین گرامی سپاسگزار و این سعی و کوشش نمایانگر عشق عظیم بر فرهنگ و تمدن ایرانی است que dar دیگر نقاط نیز تاثیرگذار بوده است. Esta conferencia no sería posible sin el apoyo y colaboración de nuestros queridos colegas en México. Estamos infinitamente agradecidos por invitarnos a invertir en esta reunión académica que celebra la historia y la cultura de Irán y hace posibles futuras colaboraciones entre nuestras comunidades. Muchas gracias a todos. Thank you very much.
Bravo, bravo. خیلی ممنون فیروزه جان. Now, we are also welcoming the audience that is following the transmission of the opening of the conference through the YouTube channel in UNAM and in the museum. For the next words, we will welcome Dr. Liliana Álvarez Arellano. She's director of the Instituto de Investigaciones Filológicas, is the Institute of Philologic Research at UNAM, the National University of Mexico, our greatest study house in Mexico, and she will welcome you as well. Please.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Alejandra. Most distinguished members of the board of the Association for Iranian Studies, Doctors Firoozeh Kashani-Sabet, Professor Rivan Sandler, Professor James Gustafson, Professor Shekoufeh Mohammadi, and Moisés Garduño García, and colleagues Alejandra Gómez Colorado, Karla Valverde, Alicia Girón, and the representatives for our university. Today we have proof that the circulation of academic knowledge can be dramatically spurred by the action of academics acting individually and collectively towards a common end, understanding our world to act upon it. It was a bold decision to hold your conference in a country where Iranian studies are nascent. It is budding. It is our deep conviction, it is my deep conviction, as it is yours, I think, that this generous act will foster the deepening of human and academic relations in the years to come among the people and institutions involved in its organization, as well as for those who attend it. It is an honor for the Institute of Philological Research of the National University of Mexico to host this conference. On behalf of the community of the Institute, please let me express a heartfelt welcome. In our institute, we study the oral and written texts that constitute our culture, the indigenous languages and cultures of Mexico, the Greek and Latin tradition, and the rendering of these cultures through the European Renaissance, Sanskrit culture, literary theory, and the languages and literatures of the Spanish language, with special attention to Mexican literature in Spanish. We are originators and receptacles of different cultures, some endogenous, others imposed or imported, all of them transformed by us. Our culture, all our cultures, are evolving and in constant flux. Our methods and perspectives must evolve too. That's why this Congress is so important to us. I celebrate the open, critical, scholarly, and ethical spirit of this conference, and I wish all the participants may find in our country and university enriching experiences. My most sincere acknowledgement to the two young co-chairs of the conference, Dr. Mohammadi and Dr. Garduño García, for crafting a most stimulating program. It is fitting that this museum, built for school children and teachers to appreciate the rich diversity and the basic unity of human nature, is to host the first day of activities. This understanding of unity and diversity is the basis for peace. May it be furthered by this auspicious conference. Bienvenidos y que nuestro trabajo académico contribuya a la solidaridad y la paz en el mundo. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Dr. Álvarez. The next speaker is also from UNAM, the National University of Mexico, is Dr. Alicia Girón. She is director of the University Program for Studies of Asia and Africa. Welcome, Alicia, please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Well, welcome to Mexico. We are very glad that you are here. It's as director of the University Studies Program on Asia and Africa of my university. I'm very proud to be in this great event, Iran Studies Conference, coordinated by Moisés Garduño and Shekoufeh Mohammadi, and also to be here in this great museum, Museo de las Culturas del Mundo, in the core of Mexico, just behind our National Palace and our principal plaza, the Zócalo, where all the political, economic, and social life every day. As you have seen, we have a lot of protests today, but that's Mexico, and we always have this type of environment. Even though I want to say that, well, I coordinate a program, but that doesn't mean that I know about all the countries, especially for Asia and Africa. So I decided to ask artificial intelligence some questions, and I have to read it because that's what I prepared for you. First of all, what's important of Iran globally? It is the artist techniques, the patient art technique, such as the use of vibrant colors, intricate patterns, and fine detail, had been appreciated and emulated by artists around the world. The Persian carpenters, known for their complete designs and craftsmanship, are highly valued in global markets. Also, the influence on Western art during the 19th and 20th century are very important, and also it has cultivated and contributed significantly to the global appreciation of non-Western artist tradition. Exhibitions and collections of Iranian art in major museums worldwide have highlighted its importance and introduced it to broader audiences. Also, there are the regional influence of Iran all around countries, and for me, it is the window between the East and the West, especially right now. It's very important the place that is taking Iran in this conjunctural movement, but also the relation that Iran has contributed with China, Russia, and also with India, and also Iran has been not only in the United Nations, but also in the Not Aligned movement, where Mexico has a very close relations. The other thing is the importance of the importance that Iran has in the global energy markets, especially by their oil and their gas. And one thing that it is very important, and I would like to mention, is the artists. Riza Abbasi, no, with miniature painting, Bizarre, then also Shah Abbas, also Marjan Satrapi, Shirin Nessa, Ali Akbar Sadeji, Krojo Hassanda, Nasser Ovisi, Sim Jones. So they have a lot of artists, and also very important that all have contributed with their culture in different museums. As an academic, I found immediately in the Google the principal journals in Iranian studies. And one of that I know that the director of the journal Iranian Studies is here. And also there are other journals, the Journal of Iranian Studies, the Middle East Journal, Journal of Middle East Studies, the Iranian Journal of Science and Technology, the Storia Iranica, other Iranian Review of Foreign Affairs, Contemporary Iran Studies in the Middle East. So you can have a lot of knowledge where we have that, where we can be near the Iranian culture. And I was I was reading the first issue, the issue that is in the web of the Iranian studies, and it is very interesting. For example, it has the Dr. Ali Reza and his study of the Friday Mosque or Umiya, a Sayuk Dome mosque dating from the middle of the 12th century, reveals its expansion and embellishment with an Iqahani prayer niched in the 13th century. Well, I'm not going to read it everything. I read it, and really it's a very interesting journal. And besides that, as economist, I went to the IMF, and well, I found that Iran has 87.402 million people, and it is very important, the economy of Iran. And the other thing that I will finish, because well, I have some pages that artificial intelligence gave to me, but I'm not going to read it. But I was just remembering that we have a very close relation between Mexico and Iran during the 70s, and there was a project that I'm really very sad that this project in Mexico has been erased, and we have the Temuaya carpets, because we, the Mexican, I think it was Sterzuno, that sent the Mexican artisans to learn how to make the Persian carpets, and now we have a lot of carpets with our designs, but with the technique of the Persian carpets. And I think that is one of the things that Iran has gave to Mexico. Thank you very much. Welcome. And I'm sorry, I'm not a specialist in Iran, but I use artificial intelligence.
Thank you very much, Dr. Girón. Our next speaker is also from UNAM, our, our biggest house of studies, Dr. Karla Valverde Viesca. She is the coordinator of Programa de Posgrado en Ciencias Sociales, that it's the program of postgraduate studies in political sciences. Welcome.
Thank you, Alejandra, and good morning, everyone. And it's a pleasure and a great honor being here with this table, this honorific table with Firoozeh, Kashani, good morning, with Lilián, Álvarez, Arellano, Alicia, Girón, Alejandra, Gómez, Colorado, Moisés, Garduño, of course, and well, with all of you, of course, in this 14th Biennial Iranian Studies Conference, and well, in this wonderful building, the National Museum of World Cultures, which is responsible of safeguarding objects from different cultures around the world. Many thanks for this, for allowing and having this honor. Thank you. I would like to thank all the participants of the organizers for their effort and make this event possible, because it's a lot of work. And I want to emphasize this is the first time this important conference is being held in Latin America. So we are really, really very happy for that. That's why I feel so proud for the contribution of the postgraduate program in political and social sciences of the National Autonomous University of Mexico as organizer. Also because of the importance of the subjects that we will discuss in the next days. The relevance of iron is undeniable. And I'm sure that all the panels and contributions will reflect this importance. We just have seen the large number of proposals that will be present and the diversity of topics addressing in the political, economic, social, and cultural fields. And it's an honor to recognize the diversity of researchers and academics who will share their work in all the spaces for discussion. I'm grateful for the Iran Studies Association for considering the National Autonomous University of Mexico as the venue of this occasion. It will be a great experience for all the visitors from other countries, above all for all the things this university and Mexico can offer. And it's going to be a great opportunity to visit other places beyond the university. And if it's your first time in Mexico, I'm sure you will enjoy our great country. Finally, my best wishes for all the participants. We need to promote this kind of spaces for serious reflections to face world problems. Thanks to the presidents of the Congress, Moisés Garduño, my colleague, and Shekoufeh, Mohammadi, for your valuable work. I'm sure everyone will be successful and will have a very good experience. On behalf of all my colleagues in the program, welcome all of you and congratulations.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, Dr. Valverde. And now is the turn for the co-chairs of this conference. In first place, I will introduce Dr. Moisés Garduño. He's also from UNAM. He has been very active in teaching since the Faculty of Political Sciences many courses about Iran. He has contributed in many ways to the political understanding of Iran in Mexico, with many, many students that are also working with us as volunteers. So welcome, Dr. Garduño, and this is the turn for you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, good morning, everyone. First of all, I want to say that I'm very happy to be here. Welcome to Mexico City. Welcome to the National Museum of World Cultures, and welcome to National Autonomous University of Mexico. I want to tell you that I'm very happy to be here this morning. For me, and I tell you this from the deepest place of my heart, it's an honor to be here with you, with your colleagues and your community. This is the most important to me. I want to say that I'm happy because this event is the first in-person conference after the COVID, and the first conference of AIS organized in Mexico and in Latin America. The pandemic left many lessons for us, and I consider myself as one of those people who continuously be grateful for having overcome the pandemic and keep working to try to do the things better, to keep working to do a better world. You must know that the only purpose to say this in this morning, the only reason to do these kind of things, this congress, these conferences, the panels, and so on and so forth, is because I do it with wonderful people and colleagues who I worked with from many years ago. Alejandra and Shekoufeh are two of the most prominent scholars in Iranian studies in Mexico. I mean, made in Mexico. Two beautiful persons to learn not only about Iran, but to know also about the life. So I'm very excited to be with them and with you this morning in this wonderful place, in this wonderful building. So, of course, this conference would not have been possible without you, the community, without the AIS and the enormous confidence placed in us by the President Firoozeh Kashani-Sabet and all the IIS Council and the IIS Executive Council. So, thank you for selected UNAM for this duty. But also at the same time, I want to thank the support given by our authorities here at UNAM, authorities and scholars, for the support and the trust to this conference. This decision, the decision to support the conference, speaks highly well of our university, shows how the diversity of thinking and plurality should be the guide that we have to maintain in one of the most important universities in Mexico and Latin America. In this regard, many thanks to Dr. Lilián Álvarez Arellano and all the team on the Institute of Philological Research. Thanks to Dr. Karla Valverde and all of the team to the postgraduate program in Political and Social Sciences. Thanks to the team of the Coordinación de Humanidades and the Dr. Miguel Armando López Leyva. He apologizes because he couldn't attend today. Thanks to Dr. Alicia Girón and the Asian Africa program. And very important, thank you very much to all our volunteers and colleagues from UNAM and other Mexican universities who are here helping us to spread the Iranian studies and the Middle East studies in our country. I know that we are currently going through a very complex context in the Middle East in general and in Iran in particular. The political changes in Iran cannot be understood without considering the change in the world order, as we can see it in some selected scenarios like Venezuela, Ukraine, Gaza, Taiwan, and probably others to come. What I want to tell you with this is that what's happening in Iran, in Central Asia, in other regional areas in the world is not oblivious for what's happening right now in Mexican and Latin American realities. For Mexican audience, Iran is a country that needs more understanding and even more understanding from the Global South studies. Given that many so-called Iranian studies that we know here in Mexico are crossed by stigmas and coming from colonial schools of thinking, particularly some conservative schools of thought, or from many Orientalist forms of knowledge production. So the Congress that we celebrate today, and thanks to you, is a good opportunity to go deeper in the fight against these Orientalist perspectives about Iran. As a country that it's often mentioned in the mass media, exotic, different society, etc., but poorly studied by international society, despite the magnificent contributions that Iran has to world poetry, literature, art, politics, and other issues that we are going to address in this conference. Finally, I want to mention that we are almost 400 participants whose papers were selected by a scientific committee of 18 members from 13 different universities around the world. We will have panels, roundtables, cultural activities, mentoring sessions, exhibitions, business meetings, and other presentations that you can check in one program that we lovely prepared for you. In this regard, and I want to repeat, welcome to my city, welcome to my country. I hope that this week you discover some similarities between Iran and Mexico in our people, in our food, in our history, in our language. Thank you very much for coming to Mexico City to share your work, your ideas, your people with our students and with our people. I will be very happy to help you in any way I can during this event. I make sure that you will have a very good time in Mexico City and in this Congress and in this chaotic but a beautiful city. خیلی ممنون. خوش آمدی به شهر مکزیک. امیدوارم که این کنفرانس بود خوش، خیلی خوب باش و خانه من خودتونه. خیلی ممنون.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Garduño. Now, to close the opening ceremony, I'll give the microphone to Dr. Shekoufeh Mohammadi. As you know, all of them have worked very, very hard to organize this conference. She was even in every detail to find this beautiful design that we have in our booklets, in the bags, and she has been taking care of all the details with a lot of passion and emotion. And we are very lucky to have her here in Mexico because she has opened the branch to study cultural Iran literature, and many of her students are also working with us as volunteers. So thank you very much, Shekoufeh, for everything, and it's your turn.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for being here. I'm very glad to welcome you to this version of the conference. I want you to know that now that we are speaking here, there are lots of people working for this conference to be as beautiful as possible. We have our volunteering students downstairs. They have been working with us day and night at any hour. We thank them a lot. We have had also our team at the Institute of Philological Research. You're going to meet them tomorrow. They have been also working like a family with us, really. I mean, trying to solve every small detail, even if they didn't have to work. But they have done it. So we are also very thankful to them. Of course, Dr. Lilián Álvarez, who is here, is the person directing all these people. We are very thankful to you, Dr. Álvarez. And I would also like to thank all the other authorities who helped us in a way in this Congress. Dr. Alicia Girón, our coordinator of the postgrad, Dr. Alejandra Gómez Colorado, and also the director of Humanities. All the authorities who have been working with us on it. And I'm also very thankful to all of you to have come to Mexico. I think it can be a very interesting experience also for those who have not been in Latin America before. I'm also very thankful to Dr. Kashani-Sabet for the support she has been giving us, and also for the patience she has had with us, because there were also difficult moments. So, as you all know, Iranian studies has had a long and colorful history. And equally long and colorful have been the intentions and perspectives of those who have dedicated themselves to this field of studies. The program of this year's conference is an example of this reality. But to speak of Iran only in the framework of the political, historical, and even linguistic territories of the Iranian world is to forget the poetic heritage of the old masters who taught us to see knowledge as a communal treasure that belongs to everyone. The High Palace, built by Ferdowsi, is a timeless refuge for human consciousness, where the flames of archetypal justice burn in mythical legends. Saadi's rose garden and fruit garden have no fence to keep out those who inhabit other languages, other geographies, and other ways of being. Khayyam's wine soothes both those who have a homeland and the uprooted who carry on their shoulders the night sky of repressions and wars. And there is no love experience that can resist Hafiz's hells and paradises, or no yearnings for the sacred that can ignore the flights of Attar's birds. This is why it is impossible to speak of movements such as Women, Life, Freedom, so strongly present in our conference this year, without thinking of the genocide in Gaza, or without reflecting on so many other resistances in Afghanistan, Western Sahara, Mexico, Chile, or Peru. As the Zapatistas said in their Declaration for Life, although we have many differences, there are also few things that unite us, that we make the pains of the earth our own, violence against women, persecution, and contempt of those who are different in their affective, emotional, and sexual identity, annihilation of childhood, genocide against the native peoples, racism, militarism, exploitation, dispossession, the destruction of nature. We share the understanding that a system is responsible for those pains. The executioner is an exploitive, patriarchal, pyramidal, racist, thievish, and criminal system, capitalism. Celebrating the Congress of Iranian Studies in Mexico as an opportunity of encounter between wounds, courages, and smiles, I welcome you and invite you to see in Iran that universal homeland described by Mahmoud Darwish. My homeland is a furious stranger in the anguish of centuries with a gun pointed at its temples. My homeland is a child who stretches out her arms with hope and courage towards happiness. Welcome.
Thank you. خیلی ممنون شکوفه. So So this is, I think, the end of the opening ceremony. We declare the formal inauguration of the 14th Biennial of Iranian Studies Conference. We will have a quick coffee break. Let's make it 15 minutes, if you agree, to come back to the keynote, Forgotten Past, Recovering Lost Voices Through the Scholarship. And another quick announcement, don't panic. In the extreme rare case that we have an earthquake, don't panic. We are connected to the alarm of the National Palace, and the security zone is this wall that you see here. So keep here, and this building is pretty safe. We have still up for many centuries, so don't worry. Pero puede sonar la alarma en cualquier momento.
Gobierno de México.